What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, the only podcast you need for all your movie news, movie reviews, and more. This is episode 31. 31.
Ooh.
I know it's a consistency joke, but I'm not going to do it this week. So this is a blank space for you to be able to hit us up on one of the emails that is listed anywhere that you can have your own advert where we can do some improv, we can do some line reading. I might practice names if you want me to read out names because they never go overly well at times, but that doesn't matter. We've got a screaming lineup for you this week.
Ooh,
Ooh, I'll
not
try
bad.
and do it. It's not the greatest, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. We got Scream
it's not
Six.
not your worst either. Like, anyway, go.
We got Scream 6, 65, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So a
hmm
little bit more of a newer lineup for you. So in case you were wondering if you should go to the movies and see it, and we can
Almost
let you
a
know.
horror lineup. Like, I would consider even 65
I
is
wouldn't
kind of
I
a
wouldn't call
horror
it horror.
thriller.
No, not at all. I've
You
got
don't reckon?
I've got a lot to say about old mate Driver's high pants
Yeah,
coming.
but genre I'm talking about, the genre
Mm,
of the film. I'm
mm,
not talking about whether it's good
mm,
or not, or actually scary.
I would say it's thriller, action, adventure, thriller. I wouldn't say horror.
It had jump scares though.
Mm, did it?
Well, it
Did
tried
it?
to.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
we'll get there. We'll
Yeah.
get there.
We'll get there. There's in 65 minutes. No, it'll be less than that. I don't know. Let's move let's move on. Let's go movie news. There's quite a lot coming in here. So
Yeah.
movie news.
Oh,
I
I've
like
been
that.
relegated. I don't even get mine anymore.
No, you'll get it. I just want to keep you on your toes. So you
Oh,
never
yeah, I'm
yeah,
there.
you never know. You're on your toes. But Lance Reddick dies at age 60. I saw this morning, which I was kind of upset about. He was the only good thing about the Netflix Resident Evil remake. So
Oh, right.
he played Wesker. So when they like rebranded Wesker from the standard video game look, and he
hmm
was the only good thing about that series because that series was a dumpster fire, which is kind of
Sure.
sad because I really like Resident Evil, but I'll save it for tomorrow's podcast. So you nerd it here first. We have another podcast, but we'll talk. I'll be talking about Resident Evil 4 on that one. So yeah, he has died at age 60.
I don't know him.
Don't know him. He's in heaps of stuff. He's a very good actor. What
Looking at
was
his list, like, there's not much that I would have seen him
okay?
in. John Wick as like a hotel manager.
Oh,
He was in.
have you seen the stuff about the new John Wick? How they're saying the
Uh,
number 4 is the best one in the series. So 1, 2, and 3 got an 8.5, like consistently. And then number
mhm.
4 has apparently broken the 8.5 John Wick curse and has got a 10 from IGN. So the last 10 IGN gave out was the winner at the Oscars for Best Picture.
Everything everywhere.
Yeah. So that was
You're
their
right.
last 10. I feel like they've kind of redeemed themselves with their scores because there was a period where they were just handing out everything. They were just like, yo, this is really good. But I feel like IGN have slowly pulled themselves back in terms of trusting their ratings. I'm not sure what they've done, but they've done something to help themselves. And I'm
So we're gonna
still
watch chapter 4 then.
yeah, I do need to catch up. I haven't seen 2 or 3. I've seen 1 and I did enjoy 1. I thought
Pretty sure I've seen
one
one
was
and
real good.
two. Don't think I've seen three.
Okay.
But really, I mean, do I need to see previous
Ah,
episodes, installments? You know,
yeah, I don't. I personally don't like jumping in and then trying to work out what the story is. Like, I'm sure it won't
have you
be a.
seen? Did you see Scream 1 to 5?
I have
Oh,
indeed.
okay.
Yep.
There you go then. I haven't.
I saw 1, 2, and 3 as when I was younger, and then
hmm
4, and then I watched 5. I think that came out last year. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I did a review on that,
No
but we'll
idea.
get into that later.
We will.
So, but anyway, yeah. So poor Lance is no longer with us,
Okay.
and
Well, rip to him. Not sure. Of
yeah, that's sad. Uh,
course.
yeah. So Ben Affleck confirms he won't be directing any DC movies. I didn't know that he was even in the running for being a director. Like,
I guess because he has DC history. as an
Yeah,
actor.
but I don't mind him as a director. There's a few of his films I was like, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
But I didn't.
I don't really I have no care. I mean, if he's doing DC or not makes no
Okay.
difference to my life.
Yeah, I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman. But that's neither
Sure.
here nor there. Anyway, James Gunn is directing Superman Legacy. So James Gunn is the director of Guardians of the Galaxies.
Hmm. Amongst
So
many other things.
yeah, but he's jumping ship from Marvel to DC, which
Hmm.
is interesting. I wonder if they're like
To do what? Sorry.
they had loyalty. Superman Legacy,
All right.
which is the
He
new
also
Superman.
I was looking at his list now. He's also worked on Peacemaker, which is DC as well.
Okay.
So that
Hmm.
was the he was a writer on the series. I'm not sure about director. Yeah, he directed 6 episodes as well. So yeah,
Okay.
he's done a little bit already.
Okay. Interesting.
Hmm.
And this one is a little bit of a number of things that are all coming in. But did you know Sam Raimi originally hated the title The Evil Dead, and he didn't
All
know
right.
what to like call it. But obviously they stuck with The Evil Dead, and it became a fantastic horror franchise.
Mm,
Which
massive.
which leads me on to my next point is they've had screenings of Evil Dead Rise, the new sort of, I guess they're carrying on with the franchise, which is set away from a cabin in the woods and is now in a high rise, uh, what are they called? Apartment story buildings.
Sure.
And it is like people are loving it. People are saying it's
Okay.
really good. But one of the critics fell asleep. So apparently the critic was in there. He fell asleep. He had an empty bucket of popcorn and had his feet up on the chairs. Apparently fell asleep, waited till the end credits, and then yelled out, "This movie sucks." So Bruce Campbell was there, and Bruce Campbell, being Bruce
What?
Campbell, told him to get the fuck out and directed this guy, the critic, out and like gave him the finger as he as the critic had to
Jesus
leave.
Christ! What the hell?
Yeah.
It sounds like a comedy sketch.
I don't know. It's so out there, but I don't know. I love Bruce Campbell. I reckon he's great. He's so funny with his one-liners. But
I mean, yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
no, there's a lot of information. I was reading it this morning.
What a
So,
bizarre story.
and Bruce Campbell is hidden somewhere in Evil Dead Rise, and then apparently
Okay.
the first person to figure it out, they'll give him $50. That's what they've said.
What?
So the
Oh
first
my god.
person who can work out where Bruce Campbell is in Evil Dead
Hmm.
Rise,
We'll get $50.
$50.
Or you're just gonna like message him on Facebook like they saw him here.
Like,
It's
yeah,
dumb as hell.
I don't. That's it's funny though.
Sure.
I really want Bruce Campbell to have a cameo. They're going to be great.
They're gonna be a mask or something. If
I
they're like
reckon.
that sure you're not gonna see him.
No, I reckon he'll be in there. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it. But the mother,
Hmm.
which is the Deadeye in this one, looks pretty terrifying based off the trailer that
Yeah.
we've seen. I'm
Yeah, the
looking.
trailer looked pretty spooky.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I want more
Yeah.
stuff that feels more like Silent Hill, sort of creepy, like that
Okay.
atmospheric stuff rather than just jump scares and whatnot. I
I'm
think that.
okay. I'm okay with more Evil Dead movies, and Sam Raimi
Mhm.
wants more Evil Dead movies with Bruce Campbell. Like,
Yeah, I'm saying the trailer I saw, there's elements where it felt a little Silent Hilly.
okay,
I like that.
yeah, all right, yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man Across the Spider Universe is the Empire Strikes Backs of trilogies. So they're saying this one is better than the original.
Okay. Cool.
It's a big call to make, though. Very, very
As
big call
in
to make.
the original, as in Spider Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it. I know
Okay.
it's. I've been told 1,000 times to get around it. I just haven't yet.
That's good. It is
Mm.
good, but to say that the sequel is better, like I know you got to build up some hype and stuff for it, but
Yeah, yeah.
is it better?
People love that movie. It's like
Yeah,
our friend Jimmy's favorite movie, and that's saying a lot. Like he watched a lot of movies.
yep. But I don't know. to call it the Empire Strikes Back is a big call.
Yeah, are they saying like it's the trilogy that? Sorry, it's the film that saves the trilogy.
I think
It's the best one.
it's the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
That's saying a lot. If they reckon.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll let the critics, the fans, be the judge more so.
Yeah, we'll see. But let's move on and let's scream into it. Let's move on. That didn't work.
That wasn't a good one. That wasn't a good one.
It was
Had better.
yeah. It came to a screaming halt. That's all right.
Yeah.
So you miss every shot you don't take. They're all winners. But anyway,
Let's do it.
Scream 6, the newest in the franchise and the newest, I guess, slasher horror film that's out now. So this is in the next installment. The survivors of Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City. So we are presented with our, well, I guess our new sort of faces that are into this trilogy. And Jenna Ortega, she is in everything at this point in time. Like, I'm seeing her everywhere. So I actually quite like her acting range. So she's it's better than I thought it was going to be. I thought she was just going to be.
It's good that she's so different. Yeah, exactly. Go on.
I thought she was just going to be based in that sort of Wednesday, sort of dark, sort of dreary, whatever range that is. But she surprised me in this film. But she's not the main focus. Our main focus is Sam Carpenter. So it is based around the two sisters, but Sam is our main one that it's following. So they have moved out of Woodsboro and they're trying to start a new life and sort of carry on with their life. And I'm assuming they're at college. I couldn't quite grasp where exactly this was based. It felt like college.
Yeah. They talk about pledges and frat parties and things like that. So yeah.
The American education system confuses me in terms of.
I think even at one point, Tara, as in Jenna character, even says what, and then leave my college behind, and whatever. So yeah, I think
it's definitely college.
Guaranteed. Yep.
Okay, cool. So Tara is at college and Sam's at college as well. Because
I'm not sure about Sam being at college. I think Sam was just living with Tara, as in like they are just together.
Right. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so they're living together. They've got their ragtag group of friends. They're going about their day-to-day business. And the whole sort of premise is followed around, I guess, everyone establishing the Ghostface. So there's lots of references to Ghostface and it becoming like a Halloween mask that people want to wear. And we're then thrown into a whole range of different masks. I did like how when we first see the killers and stuff, they have. Oh no, we got copycat killers before that. So right at the start, I watched this early in the week, so I'm getting a little bit confused with some things. But
I watched it yesterday.
We're presented with some copycat killers. So these guys, there's a date that is set up with a college professor who ironically, and this is one of the criticisms that I have with this film, is that it was very self-aware and it came across too self-aware at times. Like they were putting jokes in about the stereotypes and it became too often. Like I was okay with some self-awareness, but it happened too often. So
I wrote it's good. My second note, like really early, was it's good that by this point they're self-aware and they're breaking the fourth wall. I wrote that it's not a bad start because you've reached the 6th installment of a series that has been memed by actual like producers and stuff in the scary movies for so long. You sort of need to be a bit self-aware, but you're right. There was a point in this story where because they're one of the characters is a film student, or a couple of the characters, but there's one in particular. And she goes on this big rant at one point about like the plot and how no one's safe anymore because this is a franchise, not a sequel, and it sort of becomes too on the nose. And at that point, it's like you almost need to go against that to prove that you're not just another slasher. But we'll get to that later, I suppose. But yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I liked it at the start when it was subtle and it was like, haha, guess what? We're doing it a sixth. But then later it was like too much.
yeah. So just too often. So there's a date, and this college professor is sitting there waiting for their date to turn up, and she gets a message. We get to see the phone and the conversations where the guy is playing her in terms of he's running late, he's at the bar, he's not at the bar, and this whole build-up sequence, which was weird to me that she was this college professor and she knew about all these tropes, but she still fell hook, line, and sinker
Yeah,
into like going down a dark alley at night by herself
of course.
and all these different things where I don't know, being by yourself, walking down an alley, I don't know, just in terms of putting yourself into those situations,
Yeah.
it seems way too
But they point
convenient.
that out. Exactly.
Yeah,
They do
yeah,
point that out. That is, it's why would she?
yeah. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's just I don't know, a little bit unbelievable. I would have liked maybe a different way to sort of set that up. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what they could have done, but it just seemed
that's
too
a repeating theme though, is just that they don't balance the believable with the unbelievable very often. It's either some things feel really believable and some things are like that makes no fucking sense.
yeah. And there's a
Yeah.
especially during the climax, but we'll get to that.
Yes, we
So
will.
but anyway, she dies. I did like the way people die. Like I do like
Hmm.
how they're consistent with how the killer goes about like the multiple stabs, and it's
Yep.
always consistent with like this type of knife and stuff, and the costumes are always the same. But we learn that that's not the original killer. That's just like a copycat, and we then like there's a number of sort of no, I wouldn't really call them twists or turns, but we're presented with different masks. So we get to see the original masks, and you can see how they're like cracked and frayed, and it
Hmm.
leads into a little bit of spoiler territory where you find out they're the actual masks of the family. So the family, there's a family of serial killers which are related to Sam and Tara, and the masks are their sort of
They're the
grandpa.
masks from the previous films.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what was it? It was the father. Sam's father was a very famous serial killer, and also the grandmother or the sister. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Was her father Scream 2 or
Yeah,
Scream
Scream.
3? I don't know because I haven't seen like that was one of my things I've written is a lot of that was lost on me because this movie references all the other Screams the whole way through. Talk
Yeah,
about all these little things about things that we would know. And I would have got a lot more out of this if I had seen the other five.
yeah. It's been quite some time since I've seen one to four, but it's
Hmm.
again like I'm not watching these films for the lore. Like I don't particularly care. Like I would have preferred it just to be some bloke to pick up a knife and just be more of a sadistic sort of bloke rather than
I disagree.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't
No,
like how
I
it's
think at this point you've gotta make it a franchise. If it's just another Scream one, then why wouldn't I just watch Scream one? I kind of even though I didn't even know a lot of the backstory they were talking about, I still really liked the effort.
okay. I don't know. I think it's. Would you have a family of like serial killers? Like, how often is it the entire family are all serial killers though? Like, is that
Yeah, but again, it's not about this argument isn't about it being believable. This argument is about whether or not it'd be better as its own standalone slasher film or reference the previous five movies.
yeah?
That's what we're talking about.
I don't know. I would have preferred like a serial killer ring or something where they're getting people in
Sure,
and they're like training them up rather than all of a sudden, for some reason, this family are all sadistic serial killers that are
that's
very
fair.
okay with like stabbing anyone and everyone that they can. Like,
Yeah, and I think there's a part in the middle of the film they where you thought it might have been what you said, like a ring or some sort of like syndicate or some shit, you know.
yeah,
You're right. That was probably better. than what it ended up being.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I did like the evolution of the sort of original masks. So that when they're in the convenience store, we've never actually seen the killers use like guns and stuff before.
Yeah.
Where this was the first time there was a confrontation in a convenience store. Would you call it like a convenience store? I'm assuming that's what
It's like a bodega, which is like a corner shop.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're in there, and we actually get to see one of the killers actually using a shotgun at one point in time, where that's a first for the series. It actually felt like the people were in danger. Like they felt like the killers, rather than them just being invincible and sort of like I can kill everybody with a knife. It felt like they were adapting and were actually in danger, which is one of the big criticisms I have for any sort of horror film, is that I want my characters to feel like they're in danger, so I can create like a connection with them to make them feel like, all right, I really want you to survive, or I want you to die based off what it
you don't
is.
give a shit about them.
Yeah.
And actually, I wrote in that at that point that I really like that he isn't just hiding in the shadows. Like the Scream I remember is this creature who lurks in the shadows, comes out, stabs a few people, and then there's a jump scare later and repeat. I liked that scene. Was actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it was like he felt like a really intimidating serial killer rather than the shadows stabbing you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that scene a lot when they're in the convenience store or the bodega.
Yeah. What I struggled with was I guess the evolution of Tara through the film. So she's presented as this like real innocent, need to look out for sort of girl. And you've got that scene at the party where she's just introduced to, was it his name was Chad, or no? Chad was the
Chad
bloke
was
that saves her, isn't it?
One of the core four.
Yeah. So she's like at this party, meets this dude, and then it's like, yeah, you know what?
The Randy.
Yeah, starts going up to the upstairs room, and then all of a sudden the overprotective sister and the group are like, no, you can't do that. And then there's a bit of a confrontation with Chad and the bloke, and then all of a sudden there's a love interest where that felt really bizarre, and it was like more of a convenience thing than anything. Like they had this weird sort of romance building where it got blocked and then it didn't, and then the entire time it just, I don't know, it felt unnecessary to have that sort of in there.
It did, and it wasn't referenced enough for it to be a running theme. There was one little cock block, they called it, in the beginning, and then they kiss at the end. But the whole middle, you just forgot about them even being like a thing, or there was no like playing back and forth of will they, won't they, or any of that. Which I'm glad there wasn't. But then don't even have the kiss at all. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, because they had that one scene, then they had it before the final confrontation, and then they had it at the end of the final confrontation, which was a weird point to have in there. But
agreed.
As we move on, obviously we've got people that are being killed. I felt like throwing Gail back into the mix, and she was a reporter. I felt like that was very forced. I know you want the returning characters, and I know one of the returning characters was in a dispute for like contracts and stuff, and did come back for movie 5, but is not in this movie. So I'm not entirely sure why, but I can't.
No idea.
I don't really care. I don't care enough to look it up. But as we lead into the final confrontation, there was too many twists and turns for me. Like, I know you want a big twist and a big reveal, but there was so many times where they're like, oh, it's going to be this person. This person's not an FBI agent. So you've got Kirby Reed, who they were like, she was a police officer, and then they're
spoiler
like,
territory, everybody.
Yeah, she's not a
you
police
don't want
officer.
The ending ruined.
And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, here's another twist. Like there was so many twists all within a short period of time. And
that Scream though.
There's not that many. Like even the first one had a great twist. Like it was even pointed out in the opening scene. So if you've seen Scream 1, like you can see the two killers, and they have the they have the boots on of the killers. Like I
Yep.
like that subtle nod where I didn't pick that up like first watch, and that was really cool. Where this for me had too many twists and turns. Like I would have liked maybe one or two where it was like maybe a fake twist and then away you
But
go.
it was.
That
That's
was
that's what it was. There was one twist. It was a bait and switch, and then there was another twist.
nah,
But
I
where
don't
was
know.
that? What else? What else was there? There was Kirby,
Yeah,
and then it turns out it wasn't Kirby. It was Detective Bailey and his daughter and son. What else was there?
the whole time they consistently thought it was different people, and they were like, we can't trust anybody. There's nobody, and then it was like thinking it was the guy across the window that Sam's in
Yeah,
a
but we were never
relationship.
told. Yeah, of course, but we were
Yeah,
never told who it actually was until there was one bait and switch.
yeah, yeah. I
I don't
don't
think it was
know.
too bad. I mean, yeah, I originally thought it was going to be Danny as well, the guy across, like the neighbor. Um, I thought it was going to be Danny and Ethan, and it was Ethan, but then it ended up being Detective Bailey. There was one moment where Detective Bailey says something along the lines of, they're talking about the shrine, and is like, um, police. These will all be on police lockup something. And the fact that he said that, I'm like, like he's in on it. Like he would have helped build the shrine. Like that was sort of what I was expecting at that point. But then later on, I didn't think that anymore, and then they told me it was. I was just disappointed when they had revealed that it was Kirby. I'm like, well, that's dumb. Like that doesn't even make sense for the rest of it. And I'm kind of glad that it wasn't. Like that was a bait and switch.
Yeah.
I think it was too much. I actually enjoy this way more than I would have thought.
Okay.
Like we're shitting on it a lot now, but I got some really good points as well.
Okay. I struggled with the final confrontation. Like
Yep.
when they're fighting, I hated when Sam was at the shrine of the all the different costumes, and
Mm-hmm.
she's getting a vision of her father like
Yeah.
talking. I
Yeah.
hated it. It sucked. And
It was
why
unnecessary. It felt weird.
yeah, like why is that coming in, and why is
Mm-hmm.
he giving her like a pep talk of like, I know it's meant to be her inner dialogue or whatever,
Yeah.
like fighting all of a sudden this gene that this family has that are all serial
Mm-hmm.
killers. I hate it. Like whatever. But when they're actually
Yeah.
when they're fighting, like old mate, I think it was who was the kid? Was it Ethan?
Dad.
Was it
Ethan was the
Ethan?
son.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ethan, he got hit in the head like 4 or 5 times with
Yeah.
very, very solid objects. And he
Yep.
was not phased. Like that is
No.
you're out cold. You're
Quinn
lucky.
too.
Yeah, like you're lucky if you're even awake at that point in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I
And
know.
like characters got stabbed and it didn't phase them. Like I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure Sam got
Chad.
oh
Yeah, stabbed.
Chad.
Yeah, Sam got stabbed like in the shoulder, and yet next she's like, yes, adrenaline's a thing, but adrenaline can't compensate for ripped tendon and muscle.
No, didn't she get stabbed in
Like,
the thigh as well? I'm pretty sure she got stabbed in the leg
oh, I think so. Yeah,
at one
but
stage.
Chad, man,
Well,
Chad
Chad.
was held by two people who just repeatedly like just stabbed the shit out of him, and then later we see him getting wheeled away and he's conscious. Like, no fucking way. That was one of my biggest things. Is all the characters who we thought were going to die, and they point out themselves that main characters are now expendable. I'm like, cool, that means the main character's going to die, and then they didn't, and it felt so cheap, so
Mhm.
cheap.
Yeah. So I enjoyed like the killer up the convenience store, and then from there it had like a very steady decline for me. Like I really
Okay.
enjoyed that part. And then
Mm-hmm.
even on the train, like you know how they're on the underground subway and it's all flashing, and then the character dies on the train where people have the
Yes. Well, she
mask.
didn't
Like
die,
yeah,
which
but
was
like
annoying as well because she got stabbed and
yeah,
ripped apart.
she got stabbed a number of times. Also, randomly, why do you have a ladder? So there's part where the killer comes into there. I'm going back again. I'm jumping around.
Yeah, this is
But
like murder number two. But yep.
yeah, yeah. The killer's in the house in their
Mm-hmm.
apartment, and
Mm-hmm.
then like they've locked the door. one of the girls has been stabbed in the stomach and is like trying to hold her entrails in. Another one's been stabbed, and then old mate across the road is like, "Hey, come on across. Why do you have a ladder? You're in an apartment."
What do you mean?
He's in an apartment. He's got a ladder and he puts it across. Does everyone
Yeah, the
have a
people in
ladder?
apartments own ladders. He can't own a ladder.
No, but it seems weird. Would if I lived in an apartment, would I have a ladder that's like
Yeah, I
3 or
guess I didn't
4
think about
stories
that.
up? Like, would you, if you lived in an apartment that is like 3 or 4 stories up, would you have a ladder? Would you have a need for
Maybe
a
he's a
ladder?
tradie.
I
Maybe we didn't know
mean,
about his job. Maybe
yeah,
he's a handyman.
yeah, but wouldn't your ladder be in
Your
your
van.
trailer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't really think about that.
I'm
Yeah,
very confused why you had a ladder. Like, he just pulled it out of
because it was a
nowhere.
cool scene. That's why.
Yeah, but why does he have a ladder?
Because it's convenient.
But I think we saw him ironing his shirt, and that was about it. That's
Out
his.
of all the questions you have, him owning a ladder isn't the one that I'm like, oh, that breaks the movie.
Oh, it does. I was like, that's it, and that's where the decline happened for me. It was never
Right.
explained why he has a
I
ladder.
like that death. That was kind of, she's on this ladder. Like it wasn't your typical getting slashed up, getting shot, whatever. Like getting yeeted from a ladder, her hitting the ground. Like, yeah, that felt pretty good. I
Yeah,
like that one.
but riddle me why he's got a ladder. Tell me.
I've told you potential reasons. Maybe he's a ladder enthusiast and
No,
he has
maybe.
multiple ladders, like a collection
And
in his 2-bedroom apartment.
it annoyed me how it was like perfect size as well. Like it went directly across, and it was
Yeah.
just enough that they could hold it. Like,
These are the things that annoyed you.
yeah, it was that, and
Everyone
them
surviving
fighting.
was the dumbest.
Yeah, that was so annoying. Oh, and the kiss at the end where Tara and Chad finally share their kiss
Yeah,
while
that was.
he's on oxygen and he's been stabbed 40 odd times, and
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, take my oxygen." Like, it would hurt to breathe, it would hurt to move, but he's like able to lean in.
He wouldn't even be conscious. He would have
Nah.
lost so much blood. And Jenna at the end got stabbed when they're hanging from the top. I thought she was gonna die. I'm like, awesome. Sam has to drop her sister in order to save herself. I'm happy with that. So then Jenna falls down and Jenna gets a knife straight through her guts. And then she fights back and kills him. And then later on, she's just walking around like all the characters. Same with what was her name? One of the main girls, Mindy. She got stabbed on the train, like knife in, twisted, just like jiggled around inside her and pulled out. Like it was, it would rip you apart. There's no surviving that. Later that day, like a few hours later, potentially, if I'm being generous, she's walking around smiling, like, "Hey, everybody! Oh, I'm so glad we survived." Like core 4. What the fuck? You were ripped apart. There is no way. That's the shit that annoyed me the most. I don't care about a ladder. Fuck.
No. maybe they're in on the killing. Maybe it was a fake knife, one of the retractable blades.
I also fucking hate, and I said this last time with I forget what movie it was, but I hate when people yell before they shoot. Hey, just shoot him in the fucking head. There were multiple times that the convenience store clerk did it. There's a point at the end where Jenna Ortega runs in with a pistol and she's like, "Hey," and shoots. Just don't yell anything. Shoot him straight in the face. Job done.
I
There
hate
was a
how
line.
everyone's like knows how to use a gun, and like everyone is an amazing shot. I don't know if you've
When they're not.
like if you've ever shot a gun. It's not as easy as you think. So like going to Vietnam where you can,
But America.
Yeah, well, that's where I've shot a gun, because when you go to the Chuji tunnels, they're like, here, you can buy whatever ammo and shoot whatever. It's not as easy as you think. Like standing there with a pistol is
Sure.
not as easy as you think, but everyone in a movie is always like a really good shot.
In America, do they have more experience with guns than we do?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know either.
So yeah.
But Sam misses him point blank at one point. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like he's running across the room, but like they're only still a few meters apart. There was a line that Detective Bailey delivered, and he goes, "You fuck with my family, you die." I'm pissed myself. Delivery was so ridiculous. They used the Peaky Blinders intro as a needle drop a few times, and I found that really jarring.
Okay.
Like you can't use it'd be like using the Game of Thrones intro in
I
in the
haven't
middle of
I
a
haven't seen
movie.
Peaky Blinders. I've heard it's good,
Okay.
but that was
Yeah,
lost on me.
not fair. It was one. Yeah, they played it a couple times. I'm like, it feels weird because using another IP's like main song. Um, Also, was it Halloween at the beginning of the movie when she first died? Because not the film professor, because she walked out and people were in costumes and whatnot. And then the end of the movie is Halloween again. Had it been a year?
Good question. I didn't even realize that much time had passed.
No, it feels like a matter of maybe weeks.
Yeah,
But I swear it was Halloween at the start and Halloween at the end,
yeah,
unless it was meant
maybe.
to be the same day, which also was not. But
So,
I had problems. But look, if I'm honest, I really enjoyed most of the deaths. I feel like when I was watching this, because I hadn't seen the previous five, I had a lot of questions and I found myself actually like, oh, I might be interested in watching the other five. Before this movie, I had zero interest in watching the other Screams, but this was actually a lot of fun. And if you might be able to tell me if Scream 3 to 5 are as good as this one, then I might be interested in watching them. I
yeah,
actually enjoyed this more than I was expecting.
okay. I think five was better than this one. I enjoyed five
Okay,
more.
cool.
And I'm not sure if it's nostalgia factor, but I did enjoy one. One's still probably my favorite out of all
Yeah,
of it.
that's fair.
But
OG.
yeah, two and three are good. Like they're not bad films.
Yeah, because this like learning the fact that this one had all the lore of the previous five and linking things together, and I think that was a big selling point for me. And maybe that's because I haven't seen the rest. It didn't feel forced. It was kind of it was information that I didn't know, so it felt kind of fun to not know, but I want to know now.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, I actually thought that was a good element,
Yeah, that's fair.
and especially when you're on the sixth movie, like you've either got to make them feel linked, like the Saw movies,
Hmm.
or you just do something brand new every time, um, and make them, more ridiculous and more ridiculous, which
Yeah.
I think is not the right direction. It's going to become like another Terrifier series.
What would you give it then?
Yeah, actually, a 3.5.
Okay.
I would recommend it. It's one of those. Again, it's like if you like the genre, you probably don't like it. I wouldn't recommend it to my partner, for example. She doesn't like the genre,
Hmm.
but it was actually better than I was expecting, and it made me want to watch the others, which is a good thing. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's done its job then.
Yeah, fair. Um, yeah, I would give it a three. It's a three for me.
Yeah,
I had issues with like obviously the ladder. The ladder still bugs me to this day. And just
to this day.
how inconsistent and everyone lives. Like people need to die. You've been stabbed multiple times. You've been hit in the
Yes,
head. Like you just need to be a little bit more realistic or explain that
agreed.
somehow the mask has a helmet or there's something that stops them from actually
Sure.
making contact with it. Like maybe have
Mm-hmm.
a bulletproof vest or whatever. Like something,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something. Just give me something to think about or explain that
Yeah.
old mate across the way is a tradie or he has a room full of ladders, whatever. I don't care. Just
Just give me something.
give me something. It can
Okay.
be as brief as it is. So it's not as good
Mm,
as the other ones, but still um,
interesting.
interested to see where they go with the franchise. Obviously, Sam and Tara walk off at the end, and they
Yeah,
they live another day, and
there'll
we'll
be more.
see. We'll
Because
see
the
if
core four all
they die.
survived, regardless how many times they were stabbed. So there's gonna be
Yeah,
more.
yeah, we'll see. So let's move on to Adam Driver in another sci-fi. So
Mm-hmm.
he is obviously well known for his role in the new Star Wars trilogy and for wearing his pants extremely high. That's again, I have random issues with things.
You're so fixated on
It's,
Adam Driver's pants.
I can't get over it. It's just a bizarre,
Like
bizarre
burnt
scene.
into your brain.
Yeah, I still haven't forgiven him for that scene. I don't
So
understand
funny.
what the context was. Like, why was that the scene that they needed to show and zoom out on? Like, that's whatever. I don't know.
Anyway.
Anyway, I've come in with an open mind with this, and I haven't branded him Yeah, but an astronaut crash lands on a mysterious planet only to discover he's not alone. So this is an action adventure drama, surprisingly not sci-fi, where I would have expected it to be sci-fi, but
Yeah.
regardless, the overall, if you're going to explain this sort of film, it is the entire premise is he's like a adventurer or he's going on a mission because the company he's a
He drives
transporter.
transport ships.
Okay. I missed that part. I was like, what is, I don't really understand what his job is, but I know he flies ships around.
Yep, he was a pilot in a cryogenic transport ship. So he was
Ah,
transporting people who were in cryogenesis.
okay. Cool. So we are presented with him and his, I'm assuming, wife and their daughter. And it turns out his daughter is sick and he's presented with a job opportunity that's going to pay 3 times his wage, but he's going to be away for 2 years. So
Yep. And we later find out that that is a memory.
that's a
Not so
memory.
much. Yeah, that's not so. That's actually like not the present, because since then she died.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. So we're presented with that, and that is what we believe is the catalyst for him to go off and transport these people. That's going to be some extra wage to be able to help his daughter, which is a very good motivator for
Yeah,
our main character. Well, I mean, it
yeah.
is.
It's the classic motivator.
Yeah.
Children, yeah. My
Yeah.
children need me to do something for them. It's not because of them, it's for them, he says.
Yep. Yeah. So
But yeah,
whatever.
whatever.
So he, unfortunately, as he's transporting, he crash lands on a planet and realizes that he is not alone. And this planet has a number of different things that he needs to overcome and adapt to be able to survive.
Yep.
Where I struggled with this film. It
Okay.
was, it, I was bored. I'm going to put it that way. For like an adventure
Yep.
film with dinosaurs and different
Yep.
things, I struggled through this. I struggled to actually pay attention and to not play on my phone and do other things while this was on.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So normally I don't mind these type of films. Like I
Mm-hmm.
am kind of interested in obviously dinosaurs and stuff, but the
Mm-hmm.
special effects very good. Like I thought the
Yeah.
dinosaurs and the creatures and things looked cool,
Definitely
but
looked good. Yeah.
overall it's a flashy film with not a lot of substance. Like I didn't care about the relationship with
No.
Driver's character and
And
the
the girl,
Koa.
Koa. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't care. I didn't like how they couldn't communicate and they had to work it out because conveniently the translator was broken. I was like,
I know.
no,
I feel
cool.
like that translation thing was an unnecessary element. Like they're not being able to communicate, I don't think actually helped the plot in any way. Like, yes, they had to prove their loyalty through actions rather than words. Great. But I think you can still do that with characters that can talk to each other. It almost
Yeah.
became an annoying inconvenience.
Yeah, like it was, I don't know. For me, it was unnecessary. I
Yeah.
didn't care about the relationship. Like, if that is the premise of the film and that's what's meant to bond you to the characters, they missed
Mm-hmm.
the mark on that. Like,
Yeah.
originally, I cared a bit about Driver's character because I was like, oh, that's really cool. You're doing it for your family to help your daughter. But then as the film went on, I didn't care about it. Like, it was
No.
moments where I didn't even really care that he was in danger. Like there
No.
was Koa was sleeping, and then there was a like a bug in her mouth, and he had to save her. And there's a T-Rex that comes into the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
and the T-Rex he was just shooting. Like there was no point where I was concerned about his welfare, or
Never.
it was like you're fighting a T-Rex that is ginormous, and I'm assuming you've only got your rifle or whatever it is, some
Mm-hmm.
futuristic gun, but that
Yep.
gun seems to be way overpowered.
Yeah. It
Considering,
could do everything except for when it was convenient for it to not do what it needed to do. It didn't do it all of a sudden.
yeah,
Like at the end, he had a problem with it or some bullshit.
like
Yeah.
there was a lot of nothing in this film.
Yes. It was just like scene of them interacting, and then action scene, oh, they're in danger, and then seeing them interacting, and then oh, they're in danger, and then all of a sudden they were like besties, and he saw her as his daughter. Like it felt like the entire series of Last of Us, where we're watching these characters develop and help each other and save each other and interact and slowly warm to each other, but in like 40 minutes. Because in the beginning, she isn't even a character, and then at the end, in the action scene, it's them doing these action sequences. There's no interaction really, besides fighting dinosaurs. There's probably like 40 minutes, and if you want to chew apart the rest of the action scenes, there's probably only 20 minutes of these people interacting. And when all of a sudden they are like this little bonded team, it felt really forced.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of substance for you to care about these characters.
No.
I just struggled to care about the cast, which is very difficult when you're watching a film.
Especially when you're filming, you've only got two characters. I mean, if you look at the cast on IMDb, there are literally 5 characters. One is the voice of the ship, not even credited. One is his wife, who we only see in the beginning for like 3 minutes. One is his daughter, who is dead, and we only see at the beginning and like in little flashback scenes later.
And
So really,
and some holograms, you see that,
and some holograms, yeah. But her scenes aren't interacting with our main characters.
No.
So really, we have 2 characters driving the story, and if I don't care about them at the end, then it means nothing. I wanted Adam Driver's character to die. I thought it made a lot of sense for the end to be, because at the beginning he was going to kill himself, and he's lost his daughter already. He has no real reason to be alive. It wouldn't, to me, I would have liked to at least have that ultimate sacrifice where he has to die in order for Koa to live. The fact they both fly off and away at the end, it just felt like whatever.
Yeah.
It's just ticking boxes to that point.
And why was Koa there?
Yep.
Like they said that there's, I don't know, he tried to communicate that there's people on the mountain, and then it was like, there's no one on the mountain, but that didn't have any impact because Koa didn't understand what he was saying.
No, and he was so bad at explaining things. Has he never played charades ever? So the whole time he's just. Can you hear the dogs going ape shit right now?
No, you're good.
The whole time he is trying to explain things to this kid, but he's not doing any charades movements or like mountain. He draws a triangle. Like you could do better than a fucking triangle for mountain. Like do things with your hands and try to explain walking and dinosaurs with your hands. Nom. Don't eat. Like you could make a don't with your fingers. Like there are so many things in this where he's communicating and he doesn't even do it well. It seems like poor writing.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I can't forgive him for his high pants yet. I'm waiting for a really good performance to be able to tick that off.
I mean, he's done some amazing performances.
Has he? In what?
Yeah.
What?
What's the Marriage Story?
The Marriage Story.
I
think I've only ever. House of Gucci was good in, actually. I quite like that. He was in The Last Duel.
Black Klansman.
Star Wars. What?
Black Klansman.
What is that?
He's pretty good in.
I don't even know what that is.
How do I explain Black Klansman? It's like I'll read the IMDb. African American police officer from Colorado Springs successfully manages to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay. Cool.
But the black guy in Ku Klux Klan.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, Adam Driver, he's amazing. Like, I think he's a really good actor. I just think that the writing on this was so boring. Like, the way I described this movie to Eb was if you took After Earth, which is literally the beginning's the exact same. After Earth starts with him flying from planet to planet, gets hit by asteroids, and then lands on Earth. Now, the only difference is After Earth is set way in the future, where this is set 75 million years ago in the past. But you take After Earth, you take the idea of having to reach the ship from After Earth, and that's the exact same plot here. And then you throw in Jurassic Park because the threat is dinosaurs rather than some futuristic radioactive animals. And then you throw in a little bit of zest with the, Last of Us child protection story. And you've got a very formulated film, but it doesn't like it still wasn't entertaining. There was no beats where I'm like, oh, that's interesting and that's a nice little twist, because the whole thing was just shooting dinosaurs running away, shooting dinosaurs running away, and then the end, this is fucking massive climax, and there was a third, like a dinosaur comes in and they're like, oh fuck, we've got to kill it, and then they kill it, another one comes in, or there's two at one point, and at the end there's a third, and it's like, what the fuck? You're just introducing another one and another one and another one, and I was fucking over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only positive is, well, actually not my only. The CGI looked pretty good, even though I don't like CGI and I wish they were puppets. But it was short. It wasn't a 2 hour long fucking dragged out film, which it could have been. It's an hour and a half. And at least it was only an hour and a half. It didn't overstay its welcome, I thought.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It did feel long though. Felt quite long for what it was.
Could have been a lot longer.
So yeah, there's not much to it. The CGI looked good, but unfortunately, it misses the mark in almost every other aspect.
I think the premise is cool. I think the idea of humanoids from another planet coming to Earth 65 million years ago, and the final climax ends with the asteroid that wipes out the dinosaurs coming and destroying, or taking out Earth as they're leaving. That was kind of like an interesting perspective, I suppose. But it was still pretty boring and unnecessary in a lot of ways. Like, this is such a nothing movie.
Yeah.
I think a 2 is generous. I might even go down to 1.5.
Okay. Yeah. It's a very easy one for me. It sucked.
Sure.
It was not a good. I'm normally a big fan of just action films, but
you are.
This didn't even have good action. I didn't.
Yeah, right.
It was just, I don't know. There was nothing really exciting to it. There was no like really flashy sort of action scenes or anything. It was just, here's a dinosaur, I'm going to shoot it with my gun, and my gun will work. It will work most of the time. So just avoid this one. Avoid it.
Yeah, it was very unexciting.
Yeah, which is disappointing because they are hyping this one up a lot. So
yeah, and it's Adam Driver. Like, I kind of expected him to do better. It seems like a weird deviation for him. Not that he's done, like, we looked at his list before and there's a few good things, but he's also done a lot of in between stuff as well.
Yep.
Like, this is such a boring nothing movie.
Yeah. So let's move on to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So obviously Winnie the Pooh, his copyright is up, and all of a sudden it was a matter of time. There is now Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the horror film, which is starting a trend. Obviously, we have had the Mean One, which is the Grinch horror film, and Violent Night, which is the Santa horror film. And
I wouldn't put that in the same place.
But it's getting there. And then we've also got, coming up from the same director that did this one, I'm pretty sure he is now getting,
I can tell you.
Peter Pan, I'm pretty sure. Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and he said, oh no, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So I heard they're doing a cinematic universe with Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, and Peter Pan. They're all going to be part of the same universe.
There's 3 blind mice. I'm not sure if are they taking fairy tales too? Like, he's got 14 up and coming films. So he's got Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, Sky Monster, Rise of the Loch Ness, Dinosaur Hotel 2, Snake Hotel, Dinosaur Prison, Crocodile Swarm, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmares, 3 Blind Mice, Dinosaur Hotel 3, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Bambi the Reckoning, Vampire Files, Monster
Vampire Flies.
Oh, Flies, yeah. Monster NATO.
Monster NATO, Jesus. Is Monster NATO with Asylum? It sounds like an Asylum film.
I don't know. I feel like that's definitely a rip-off of Sharknado.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got a lot of shit coming up. He's done like Legend of Jack and Jill in the past as well.
Spider in the attic.
Crocodile Vengeance. Yeah, he's done a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And this is definitely up there.
In the so
Good on him. He's having fun.
yeah.
At least.
So here it is. So after Christopher Robins abandons them for college, Pooh and Piglet embark on a bloody rampage as they search for a new source of food. So the opening scene, we're presented with Christopher Robin returning to Thousand Acre Woods.
Before that though,
yeah,
we get the little prologue, like the little storybook thing.
Oh, right, yeah. So
which I really liked.
The only really good part about this film was the sort of animation storybook sort of telling of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
where they actually use, because that's the thing. Like, if this is one of my biggest complaints, I'm not going to go into big detail now because I'll get to it later. But the good part and the part I enjoyed the most was when they actually used the IP and the story of the lost what is it, Third Acre Wood, whatever it is,
Thousand Acre Wood,
100
Acre Woods,
100 Acre Wood. I don't even know. But when they took the story and they twisted it and pretended as if it was in real life, there's a line where he says, "These abominations," and there would be if there was a man pig in real life, then it would be an abomination. If there was this weird yellow bear wandering around, he'd be an abomination. So I kind of like the parts I liked the most about this, and I guess probably the only parts I liked were when they actually use the source material in a fun way.
Yeah.
So the first opening scene
is 100 Acre Wood.
100 Acre Wood.
Yeah.
I'm not super connected to the Winnie the Pooh story, obviously.
No, but I just looked it up. So
yeah, tar.
So we are presented with Christopher Robin returning from college with his wife, and is like, "Hey, I want to show you my friends." Where it doesn't end well for old Christopher Robin.
Oh, we're missing a little bit there too.
It's
not.
Sorry,
you're skipping over bits in the introduction. They talk about the fact that after Christopher Robin leaves, they struggle to find food and they struggle to do whatever, and they have to kill and eat Eeyore, and then they become these cannibalistic monsters, and they have a vengeance against all humans, but they mainly want to kill Christopher Robin
and to never talk again. They refuse.
Oh yeah, that's right. They make a pact never to talk again.
Yeah,
which I think is just because prosthetic masks that move are more expensive.
I don't know.
Okay, now you can get into the present.
All right, yeah. So that's all told in your very best part of the film, which is your little storybook animation.
Prologue, yeah.
Yep. And then Christopher Robin has brought his wife back to meet his friends in the woods. But unfortunately for Christopher Robin, they've got a vendetta against him. Then they kill his wife and take him to their lair. So
yeah,
that was interesting.
Already made no sense because they said at the beginning they want to kill him.
Yeah. I guess
pick him up.
They want to unleash a little bit of torture and stuff beforehand. But
then you don't see him again for the whole rest of the movie. And I'm sure you get to this in a second, but the whole movie centers around these girls spending a holiday in a cabin, the classic fucking setup.
Yeah, which was
Christopher Robin is only the start and the end.
Which was extremely weird. So after that interaction, which was kind of cool, that seeing them first kill someone was interesting because it's Winnie the Pooh killing someone. But the novelty wears off very quickly.
Yeah.
So after the opening, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, we're presented with this group of girls, which I don't understand why this girl was in therapy. I don't think they explained it overly well.
Did they say she was in therapy?
Yeah, she was talking to her therapist.
You're not confusing that with the beginning of Scream, talking to a therapist?
No, it was Maria, and then she has this big opening sort of with her friends, and her friends were like, "Oh, we didn't know that," blah blah blah, with her. And then there was one friend that got lost or something or other. It was very confusing. And then there was Lara, who was like obviously an Instagram or like an influencer,
Yeah.
and she's just taking pictures in the hot tub, which is the picture behind you for everyone who's watching the vodcast. So she's taking pictures, and the old trope of, oh, what's that in the picture? And
Yeah.
there's Pooh standing in the background, and then they creep up on her and they take her out onto the road, which
Yep. And run over her head
there was
with a car.
there was a whole random choice of like killing. I was expecting
Yep.
her to be like drowned or something, but to
Yeah. It was like a lot of it was like, yes, okay, you could see they wanted to have a killing where they ran over someone's head with a car. And they're like, okay, how make this happen? Like the leap from girl in hot tub to running over her head on the road out the front is such is such a leap that, like, why the fuck would that be the one that you decide to be under the car?
like there was so many things that were confusing. Even the old bloke who was like randomly just in the woods, like I found him
Bloke in
odd.
the woods.
Like, yeah, like when he's talking with the girls, and then all of a sudden he's got his mates, and they have that random like fight scene at
Oh,
the
toward
end.
the end. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
like, yo, what do you want, fucker? Like, you think you can take all of us? And then he takes all of them. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like they made Winnie the Pooh, and I guess Piglet as well, like superhuman strength, which I mean I'm not against, but they just became these like larger than life monsters.
Yeah, it was odd in terms of that whole fight scene, and like them randomly just bashing him, and he was like not phased by it. Like, yes, he crumbled slightly because he got hit in the back of the knee, but there was no damage, similar to like Scream, where
Yeah,
the killers are
they felt
invincible.
invincible. I also hated how throughout the whole film they're like, every time when they first see this, I think they see Winnie first, they're like, that's not human. If I saw that in the forest, and even because they're at quite a distance at this time, my first thought would be that man's wearing a mask. I would not ever look at that and go, it's inhuman. Like, it was dumb. It was like they were trying to make it more believable, where I kind of think they should have just lent into the fact that it looked like a man in the mask, and then later when they try and take the mask off, they're like, oh, holy fuck, it's real. This is really like a abomination. Rather than just believe that this stupid looking fucking yellow bear, is a real abomination from a distance.
So I looked up why Maria, the girl, and why they were actually out there in the 100-acre woods. So
yeah,
I didn't confuse it. She was in therapy. So Maria was a normal college student who began having issues with a stalker who would creep around her home at night. One night she was caught him looking into one of her windows, and another night he broke in with Maria waking up to find him trying to undress her in her sleep. The man was arrested, but Maria was traumatized and began seeing a therapist. So the therapist recommends going on a vacation away with their friends. That's why they were out there.
Yes, that's right. Because I had that scene where they're sitting down in the cabin or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, this is the story," and her friend goes, "Yeah, it wasn't my place to tell you." But why the fuck even have all that? Like, it meant nothing.
That was so confusing. It didn't even relate back to like Winnie the Pooh or anything. It was literally just to bring fodder for them to kill. And that's
a lot of this movie is like, just like generic slasher stuff thrown into the Winnie the Pooh IP for no reason.
It could have just been like them preying on people going for hikes in the wood, which would have been more sense than them randomly coming to this cabin. Like,
we'll start with some Randys, and then Christopher Robin learns about it and is like, "Oh my god, I have to go tell my friends to stop killing people," and then he goes out there to try and stop them. Like, that would have been a better setup than Christopher Robin gets kidnapped in the first 10 minutes. The entire movie, we build this time with our characters, and spoiler territory if you give a shit. But in the end, every single girl dies, and the only person who lives is Christopher Robin. The only person who, at the start, they told us the creatures wanted to kill more than anyone is the only character they don't kill. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah. And there is a moment where Pooh breaks his silence. So when like the final climax where Pooh has the last, like Maria has her randomly out in the car because he was just hanging on the car and was invincible, but then gets Maria and has the knife to her throat, and Christopher Robin's like, no, take me instead, let her live. And then he's like, you left, and like slits her throat and breaks the vow. And then old mate just, what does he do? He hits her with his car, and
Sort of forgotten.
Yeah.
I wasn't really towards the end of this. I was sort of like just going through the motions. I was so over it.
Yeah, it wasn't even good. Like I was expecting it to be something exciting. I think I just got into the hype. Like people got around this. People were like,
it's new.
Yeah, it's new because the copyright's done, but this is going to just become terrible films with the iconic characters.
Exactly. Just like the Grinch one, which was, I said it back then too. This is so disappointing when you take an IP, you're the first people to make it into a horror, which is the only reason that this has got the traction that it has. And you don't do anything fun with the IP. Like besides the fact that the only, like I said, the only part that they actually played with it was right at the beginning when they told us that Chris Robin had to go to college, and therefore these creatures have sworn a vendetta against all humans and had to go cannibalistic and blah blah blah. Like that was kind of fun, and they set that up, and I thought they were going to play with that more. But we only get 2 of the creatures. We don't see any of Tigger or Rabbit or Owl or any of that, which I'm guessing, hoping be number 2. And that please budget, the mask would have cost a bit of money, whatever. But there's so much wasted opportunity here. I think that's almost makes this offensive. Like you could have done a lot more fun with this than just made it a generic slasher film. I honestly was thinking about, there's a movie from 2006 called Mr. Jingles, which was like this clown slasher film. This could have been Mr. Jingles too, and it would have been the exact same movie. Like the fact this was Winnie the Pooh meant nothing. They had no connection to the IP, and it was really, really disappointing. So it makes me sad that they're doing this whole cinematic universe with Bambi and Peter Pan, and it all sounds very fun and exciting because they're going to twist IPs. But if they're all just generic slashers with famous characters, then it means nothing, and it's very, very wasted.
Yeah, that's true. I thought they'd have more fun with it. Like there was one of the scenes where they had someone and they were like pouring honey and stuff onto their face. Like they could have done so much more with it. You could have made it far more like menacing. Like it could have been anything, but just,
or he keeps people in these big honey jars, and his honey is acidic, or Rabbit is up there like pulling him apart. We don't even need to see Rabbit. We can just see like the autopsies and stuff, because Rabbit was like smart and he wants to pull apart humans. Like there's a lot of fun here. Like my D&D brain thinks of all these different opportunities, but they just did nothing.
No, and to have the whole people up there in terms of just that random therapy scene and this telling of the story, like it was just odd in terms of how they've tried to connect people to go out there. Like I don't know,
it was padding.
I was very disappointed with this film. It was sad.
And I wasn't expecting it to be great, but I was expecting to at least have fun with the IP, and this is just a nothing.
Yeah, like at least the mean one had the random montage scene. It looked like they were having fun. Like it looked like
that was more entertaining. Yeah, definitely.
Where I don't know.
There was one death in this that I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. Do you want to try and guess what I think it was?
Was that the head crushing one?
No, that was dumb, because they use a digital. You can tell they like, how when you're on Word and you're trying to resize something and you forget to resize the corner, you resize on the top and it squishes. They tried doing that with her face and it looked like shit. No, the death that I liked was in the pool where Piglet has a sledgehammer and is slowly going towards her, trying to like swing at her, and is slashing away and missing. And then she reaches the end of the pool. And we have this shot from behind Piglet where he swings the sledgehammer and smashes her in the face, and her face just goes and explodes out the side. That was a really cool death. I like the way that was shot. And there's a few moments with like really nice lighting. I'm like, holy fuck, they actually kind of know what they're doing. Like the fact that it was at night and there's these really nice like backlit shots. The masks look really cool at times, but it still wasn't enough. Like a couple of moments, I was like, oh, that's better than I thought, but it's still it's a one. Like I think the elements that are good make it a one, almost a 1.5. But the wasted opportunity like takes points away. This could have been so much better, and they did nothing with it.
Yeah, I do agree. It's definitely a one. They just missed so many opportunities. It could have been such a fun. Like you need to poke fun at this as well. You need them to be more. I know they've got a grudge against humans and stuff, but it could be a whole like sadistic. They are really upset. They're doing all sorts of things just to mess with humans. Just they seem reasonably intelligent in terms of how they're going about it. Like play into that more. Let them
definitely
mess around and do different things. But
yeah,
I don't know.
make it feel like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah. I'm concerned in terms of what this guy's going to do with like Peter Pan and Bambi, and it's just I wonder what
Peter Pan could
Bambi's
be
going to look
really
like.
cool. Bambi,
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing with Bambi because Bambi, it's a deer. Like what's that thing gonna do? Like chew your face off and stuff. I don't know, but I think Peter Pan has so much potential for coolness because it's already like a horror. You know, this person comes and steals children and takes them away where they never age. Like that's already within itself. Peter Pan's already the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like there's so much fun there.
I would be excited to see like he's taking the kids away and he's making them like little minions. Like he murdered the family and took them away, and he's got like
there isn't much to twist there, but it's fun.
Like merry band of whatever, and what's his Captain Cook's trying to stop him.
Yeah, Captain Cook's the good guy, and he's trying to like. There's so much potential there. I bet you they just make it another fucking generic slasher, and it's gonna be boring as fuck. In the woods again, because every slasher ever is set in the woods. Just over it.
Yep. Although Scream was set in the city.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Scream was a 3.5, and this is a fucking 1 because this is nothing new.
Yep. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But
did you like this more? Sorry, because you gave this and you gave 65 a 1. The reason I gave 65 a 1.5 is I do think it was better than this. Do you disagree?
I reckon though I had about the same interest in both of them.
Right. Okay.
They just had nothing for me. But
interesting.
Yeah. Hopefully next week we'll actually have some really good ones coming in. So we've got Cocaine Bear, Shazam, The Fury of the Gods, which is the sequel, and also Operation Fortune. So some new films coming at you, and I'm excited to see how they go. I really liked Shazam #1, so I'm hoping the sequel lives up to it. It does look fun in terms of the trailers that I've seen, and Lawson getting into some superheroes I am excited about.
Yeah, sure. I'm probably most excited for Cocaine Bear. Okay. I've heard really fun things about it. So if it's anything down the same vein as like Mad Heidi sort of shit, I'm so keen.
Mad Heidi was great.
Yeah, right.
That's such good fun.
You're welcome.
That's what they need to do. That's what Winnie the Pooh needed to do. They need to lean into the over the top.
Yeah.
But no one's watching this for in-depth storytelling.
No. Quiet. Yeah, anyway, we've said our piece.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what to do. If you got contacts in Underarm, they want to sponsor us outside of America, get around it. One day it'll pay off, hopefully.
One day.
And you could have been doing anything else, and all we ask you to do is to tell your friends, make their day better, make their day worse.
Tell your friends. Tell all your friends.
Tell them all. And also we have we have another podcast. So that is called You Nerd It Here First. If you want all your nerdy news, you can definitely check us out. We're on Spotify, Apple, all of that good stuff. We're on the YouTube channel. And I'm live on Twitch Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays now at 7:45 Australian Central Standard Time. You can also check out Damo, who is streaming after me for some retro games on Tuesday, and Jimmy, the Puzzle Master, he is on Thursdays, the late one, but we are peer pressuring him into playing Metal Gear, so check that out. So
I'd be keen to watch that.
Yeah, I'm very keen to watch Jimmy play Metal Gear. And yeah, you know what to do. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Thanks, guys. Love yous.
Bye.